All right, what's up, everybody? I think we're live. I think the audio is alright as well. I have some music in the background, and I think my microphone is fine as well. But my microphone, it's maybe a little bit loud. So let me know. But welcome to the stream. I hope you're all doing great. Welcome to a new stream. In this stream, we'll look at the inflation rate and CPI data together live, and the initial jobless claims as well might be interesting as well, kind of depending on the outcome. And just in general, will be a major news event, right? I mean, everything together is for sure going to make the dollar strength index move. The dollar strength index has been relatively bullish in the last couple of days, unfortunately last week basically. So what we want to see is some results that actually make this bearish. So we'll kind of look at everything. We'll look at the news outcomes and kind of see if that's bullish or bearish. But let me know. Is everything working all right? Is the audio all right? Is the microphone audio and settings, are they good enough? Let me know, and while you let me know, I will share the link in all the groups, so that people know that we're live and that they can tune in. But yeah, hope you're all staying relatively safe in these markets, because the market circumstances this week have been ridiculous. They haven't been great, unfortunately, but that's just the way it is sometimes. And then the best thing you can do is then to just sit on your hands and not do much. I mean, there have been opportunities in this week as well. I mean, Eigen has been relatively bullish, for example, but a week like this, at least so far, is best to kind of not trade at all. I think this week, I mean, if you shorted, you make money, or you made money. But I don't think shorting this week was the best option either. Maybe if we break down below 60,000, shorts will become good again. Well, I mean, technically, then shorting becomes the best thing to do. But at this point of time, it just depends too much on the news, which we'll see in a moment. But let me know. Audio good? All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're having a great week so far. My week has been fine. I mean, I'm now at my parents' house, dog sitting, so that's always nice. But apart from that, I haven't traded much this week. I took a trade on Phantom earlier. That's doing relatively well. Like Phantom, when it reclaimed back into the range, I bought this. I bought Eigen as well down here at what is it, at like 3.48. So down here has been very volatile, has not been a great trade to hold. And earlier this week also made some money on in the weekend also made some money on Popcat. But I also have a position in Fetch, and Fetch is not doing great. I bought that at 1.45, so that's not doing amazing. So a bit of a mixed week, I would say. I think today, and just in general, the news today is going to make the market move a lot. Tomorrow is a relatively quiet day, but what you see at this point of time is that the volume in the markets is actually relatively low again. Bitcoin volume at $28 billion. If we get some major news outcome here, then that can be up into 40 billion before you know it. So I expect quite a lot of volatility. And just in general, what we've seen, because before we talk about the news and before we look at the news outcome, I briefly wanted to do a bit of my thoughts on the market right now. And what we've seen so far, and I think most of you can agree with me on that, is that the Asian sessions actually have been relatively fine. Or at least when you look back at Monday morning, for example, well, at least the Asian session was quite good. And then Monday afternoon was relatively good as well. But then you had a decent Asian opening yesterday, but every US session has just been filled with a lot of selling pressure, with no Coinbase premium. So there's been a lot of selling in the US session. So obviously that opens 1 hour later than the news, but what's going to happen in the US session will matter as well again today. So I should basically stream for 1.5 hours. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that, but that's going to be crucial as well. I'll probably publish some sort of a middle of the day market update like 2 hours after the stream, talking about the US opening as well. Because what you see at this point of time, and that's slightly worrying, I would say, is that the S&P 500, for example, is doing very well. The Nasdaq is also making higher highs since the 26th of September, when Bitcoin was still quite bullish as well. So the asset markets are doing quite well, are doing quite good, and for those of us who hold stocks as well, or ETFs or whatever, basically the same thing, you look at your portfolio there and it's quite good, but you look at your crypto portfolio and it's underperforming. So that's an interesting thing to see, right? I mean, gold has also dropped down quite a bit, so it's not necessarily the unrest. But no, it really seems like some sort of entity is mass selling Bitcoin. But that's not a problem. I still believe in a bullish in a bullish fourth quarter. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what it brings. A little bit less than 4 minutes left for the news in general. And welcome everybody that's watching now. Got 160 viewers. That's good. What's up, Julian? What's up, everybody? Expect a pump at 2:30, drop at New York Open, and pump before New York close. Yeah, could be. To be honest, the New York close the last couple of days has been very bearish. So I would more expect some sort of a pump at 2:30 after the news, pump at New York opening, and then a dump into New York close, or as the New York session develops. But we'll see. Lucky Charm, at this point of time, kind of to get into the news and what I expect from the news. And welcome to all the new viewers. At this point of time, I have to be a little bit bearish. All right, we got a massive breakdown at this level right here between 61,600 and 62,400. The best case scenario, in my opinion, for Bitcoin now, and that also is supported a little bit by the structure here, and it's definitely supported by the fundamentals, in my opinion. The best case scenario is that we kind of round out here again and that we form some sort of a consolidation in this range, right? So that we bounce around in this range. That's best case. Because there's not a lot of bullish momentum for Bitcoin. There's been some massive selling pressure. I have to lean a little bit bearish on Bitcoin now. There's just fundamentally, there's quite a lot of reasons to be bullish on Bitcoin. Talking about the political situation in the US. Today we actually, look, we're not going into geopolitics, but today we also got some rumors about a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia. So that would be very bullish for Bitcoin as well, which now is very correlated to stocks, right? Whereas a couple of years back, it actually was a bit correlated to gold. But that's off the table for now. Especially since the inception of ETFs, right? When we got ETFs, Bitcoin started trading much more like the indices and like stocks, which is a bit of a blessing and a curse in my opinion, but it is what it is, right? But no, so I'm leaning bearish on Bitcoin. But with the news that we're getting, look, one of the big reasons why I think Bitcoin has been bearish is that we have had a relatively strong dollar, right? In this period of time, since like not the entirety, but since like the 12th of September here, the dollar strength index was very weak. And what you saw is that Bitcoin actually thrived in that period of time. And historically, every time the dollar strength index turned bearish, which we almost did, we started a new bull market. So we really need a bearish dollar strength index, at least if you can trust previous data. Historical data, and this is not bearish, right? So that's what we need to see. I mean, we need to see the dollar strength index kind of round out and find resistance, and then Bitcoin can actually perform as well. And then, well, I'm more bullish on Bitcoin than altcoins, but still, altcoins will have a chance then as well. But news in a little bit over 1 minute. What's up, everybody? From Greece, greetings to Greece. Sui and Solana, look, everything at this point of time, or almost everything, Phantom is doing quite good, so I'm happy about that. But a lot of things right now are just correlated, right? So Solana, Sui is not that correlated, but they'll pump if Bitcoin pumps. So we'll see with the news. You don't necessarily need to watch the news. What we want to see, this is always nice, right? With the timer, watching this together. No, but what we want to see is lower than expected readings for the inflation rate data, CPI, inflation rate, core inflation rate, And we want higher than expected readings for the initial jobless claims and continuing jobless claims. Now, what we will look at is not necessarily the news right here. No, we'll look at the dollar strength index and how the dollar strength index reacts to to the news, because this is always quicker, right? There's always a bit of a delay in here, and there's even a stream delay. So we'll look at the dollar strength index, then we'll take a look at the numbers, and then we'll take a look at Bitcoin. But it's going to be interesting. 2 more seconds, 1 second. What will happen? The dollar strength index. Let's see. Oh, it's bullish. Oh, that's not great. That's not good. Oh no, I can see on the top of my screen Bitcoin is going down as well. It's a little bit mixed right now. Do we have the data already? Higher than expected inflation rate. That's not good. That's not good. And we have higher than expected unemployment data. Overall, I would say this is bearish. The markets are very volatile at this point of time. Dollar strength index is going up and down. Bitcoin is relatively bearish here because we have higher than expected inflation rate data. Across the board, to be fair, CPI is higher than expected. Core inflation rate is higher than expected. Month on month is higher than expected. Inflation rate in general is higher than expected. It's lower than, no, core inflation rate is actually higher than previously. The inflation rate is lower than previous, but core inflation is actually up. So this technically is bearish. But we'll kind of look at what's going on, all right? Yeah, no, oh, I'm pressing some ads. No, so far Bitcoin is bearish as well. That's, whoa, yeah, I mean, look at this. Yeah, so far this is bearish. I mean, you can say a lot of things about this, but this is bearish so far, right? The data in itself is bearish. That's the outcome for now. The website is this. It's a My FX book for those of you who want to check it out yourself as well. But we'll kind of let the market settle, because the thing is that, all right, well, kind of my interpretation on this data is that it's bearish, all right, because the inflation rate matters more than the employment data. The employment data is bullish. We have more initial jobless claims and more continuing jobless claims, and actually quite a bit more as well, right? So that's bullish because that signals some sort of economic slowdown. But then the inflation rate across the board being higher than expected, what that means is that the 50 base points cut that we saw from the Federal Reserve 2-3 weeks back might have been too soon, all right? Because if the inflation rate is about to go up again, then that means that there will probably be less rate cuts from the Federal Reserve for their monetary policy. And we want as many rate cuts as we can get. All right, so this is not the end of the world. That's also why Bitcoin is not crashing. But I do think this is overall, I would say this is a bearish outcome for crypto. The dollar strength index is falling down a bit now, so maybe the unemployment data is a little bit more important than I expect right now. But again, the US session will matter a lot, because sometimes what you see, and that's the difficult part with news like this, sometimes what you'll see is that even though technically the news is bearish, it can still be, it doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin will be bearish as well, right? So far, Bitcoin has been bearish. And I would say, like, my bias on Bitcoin right now has to be bearish, all right? Because we already talked about that earlier in the video. Purely technically, I would say short term we are bearish here. Got a major got a big bearish breakdown right here, and in general we haven't really gotten a bullish reclaim yet. And now the news is also bearish. So I am now much more bearish on Bitcoin than bullish. But that doesn't mean that I will not be ready for the bullish move, all right? And the US session is going to matter a lot again. So for now, I will have to be bullish, but we'll have to pay close attention to the dollar strength index and the S&P. S&P pre-market price is also trading a little bit lower, but it's not reacting that much. So maybe this news is bearish, but we don't have to overestimate how bearish it is. Yeah. Dollar strength index is down. I know, but it's too early to call this down, right? I mean, this is the 4 hour time frame. It's just bouncing around. So it's good that it's not super bullish. Maybe the market actually expected worse inflation rate data, and this is only like it's 0.1% higher than expected, right? So maybe the market says, well, that's actually not too bad, so we can still be bearish. But it very much depends right now on what will happen with the US opening. So in 55 minutes, excuse me, in 55 minutes the US opens. Red bastard. Why on earth would you listen to this guy for macroeconomic information? You don't have to. You don't have to listen to me. I have, however, I do have some experience in economics on a relatively high level. And I've traded Forex for a relatively long period of time as well. All right, so it can help certain people. Maybe it doesn't help you. That's fine. But no, dollar strength index is down, but we'll still have to see some sort of a definite breakdown or break up. All right, dollar strength index in general is at a strong resistance level here, around 103.2, 103.4. So hopefully this holds as resistance. If the dollar strength index holds this resistance level right here, that's very bullish for Bitcoin. And then in combination with the other fundamentals we just talked about, NASDAQ and S&P going up, then I do think that Bitcoin can hold this level right here around 60,000 and that we can get some sort of a move into 63, 64,000. This is a possibility, right? This is the best case scenario, in my opinion, if the dollar strength index is able to hold this resistance level. So it is certainly a possibility. But like I said, I mean, with the news we just got, and for all of the new listeners and watchers as well, at this look, the news is mildly bearish, I would say, and I think that's supported by the reaction from the dollar strength index. I think that's supported by the reaction from the S&P 500, but it is mildly bearish, all right? Because the news overall is that the unemployment data is bullish for Bitcoin because there's higher jobless claims and higher continuing jobless claims, and the inflation rate data is slightly bearish because the inflation rate is higher than expected, and the core inflation rate is even higher than the previous reading. So that's not great, all right? We want interest rate cuts, and we will only get those if the inflation rate sustainably drops down lower than this. So that's why. So that's what the news. So that's why the news at this point of time, I would say, is bearish. I think Bitcoin is also supporting that view on it. But what matters now, and that's kind of the final conclusion of this, what matters now is what will we see at the US session. So the US session, what I mean with that is the US trading, the New York Stock Exchange opens at 3:30 UTC plus 1. So that's in what is it in 53 minutes. So do the math on it. 53 minutes. So then the US market opens, all right, and that matters a lot just in general because, well, then the US kind of wakes up, so there's more trading from the US in Bitcoin and other places where you can actually buy Bitcoin. Now also with the ETFs, and it also matters because Bitcoin is very correlated to the S&P 500, which then also opens. There's pre-market trading, of course, but still. So that's going to be key. Previous reading was the same. What do you mean? Previous reading was 3.2 and it's now 3.3. Do you have a different source? So yeah, we'll see. At this point of time, like I said, conclusion is news is bearish. Bitcoin has seen massive selling pressure in the US session the last couple of days. So for now, I would say it's most likely will drop down into 60,000. If we're unable to hold 60,000, we'll drop down lower into that level between 59 and 58. That would be my thoughts right now, but I'm not going to short this, all right? Because there's still a possibility that we do something like this, drop down here, get back up. And like I said, that depends, and I will not wait that out. That depends on how the US session reacts to this news. That's what I would say. Those are my thoughts in general. So if you're tuning in a little bit later, the last 2-3 minutes, I think, last 2-3 minutes, I said everything you needed to know. News, relatively bearish, but there's also some bullish parts to it. So far, the market is reacting negatively to it, or at least the Bitcoin market is. I expect that to continue unless we have a bullish US opening. And a bullish US opening for me would mean a bearish dollar strength index. All right. So if we see the dollar strength index do something like this, then there's a possibility that Bitcoin will be able to hold support and continue to trade higher. Otherwise, I expect this. And those are my thoughts. All right. Those are my thoughts for now. If you do have any questions, anything, make sure to join the Telegram or the Discord group. All right. The YouTube comments at this point of time are filled with bots, and YouTube is not allowing that many great measures against it. So the Telegram group, Discord group are amazing. Join those. If you tag me in there, I 99% of the time respond to that. So I hope to see you there. I'll be back with more. I'll be back with more live streams, maybe this weekend on Sunday, kind of in preparation of next week. And otherwise with big news, right? But I'll see you all then. Hopefully I'll see you all in my other videos as well. But that's the coverage on the CPI and inflation data for now. So thank you for being here. I'll see you all in my next videos. Like I said, have a great day. Have a great rest of your week. And most importantly, be careful, all right? Be careful trading. I would say shorting is the best option right here, but shorting in a naturally bullish market, which I still see Bitcoin as, and crypto as, is dangerous nonetheless as well. So be careful. I'll see you on my next in my next videos. Have a great day, and goodbye from me and my dog, who's